Let's go. Let's get into it. Welcome to TSFS Phraseacs. You know I'm your host, Sarah, and we do a daily pop culture podcast here at the Sarah Fraser Show. Wednesdays, throughout the entire season of Season 7 of Welcome to Plathville, I do a recap of this absolutely bananas shenanigan of a show. And how creepy on a level of 1 to like creepazoid is Barry Plath. We're at 15. I'm not even going to lie. Like, I cannot even register where it's at. It's so whacked. Last night, we see the beginning of the end of Veronica and Micah. It's over. Well, it's not over on the show last night on episode 6, but it's certainly getting there. And I'll tell you all the signs from the jump that lead to that. We see Lydia trying on wedding dresses with her sisters. Moriah rolls in 2 hours late. And Moriah, of course, hates love. The Queen of Darkness is like, I hate weddings. Girl, you've been on this earth like 23 years. You've been here for like 2 minutes. Okay, 2 cigarette breaks is how long you've been on this earth, and you hate love already. Ugh, don't get me started with her. Like, I want to go easy on her because I know from people who have been on the show that she has mental health struggles. So like, I don't want to go that hard. I think we're seeing a limited capacity of Moriah for that exact reason. She's working on her mental health. She has severe alopecia. It's a mess. Okay. We see her last night move to Montana. We see the fam getting ready for this wedding, which is like 18 days away. And we see a heck of a preview, the continued fighting between Veronica and Micah, and then a preview that is like, your jaw is dropped. Like, is Ethan Plath's girlfriend Tegan, did she have an OnlyFans? Are there nudes of her on the internet? Veronica and Micah enter therapy. And in therapy, Veronica tells Micah he is never going to be around Tegan, Ethan's girlfriend, ever again. This is so good. Yeah, it's all coming true. So we're going to get into all that. I did want to remind you, yesterday on the show, I had the amazing A-list actress Chrissy Metz. This Is Us. Remember that hit show, which was so good? And now she's in The Hunting Wives. She plays Star in The Hunting Wives. If you haven't watched this show on Netflix, it's so over the top and ridiculous. I truly think that you should. I watched it at first. I didn't get it. I was like, this is so stupid. And, I'd heard like the sex scenes were off the charts. And then I let myself get into it a bit. By the finale, it's so ridiculous. It's like, okay, this is like, it's never going to happen, right? I'm watching Mission Impossible. What's the latest Mission Impossible movie with Tom Cruise? All right, well, Schman and I got suckered into spending over $20 on it. And it's just so ridiculous. It's so stupid. It's like, but in a way, when these shows become like this could never happen in real life, it's almost like you then suspend all belief and you're like, okay, I'm in it for the foolishness of this. And that's sort of where I ended up with Hunting Wives. And, Chrissy reveals a lot. Like, even she had to Google. Hopefully you don't have your kids in the car. One of the things with Hunting Wives is all the obviously girl on girl scenes, but then there is a heterosexual pegging scene between Callie, who's one of the women on the show, and her husband, who's the sheriff. Chrissy talks about that scene, and she actually had to Google what that was. I'm like, oh my God, girl, you clearly didn't have a crazy gay uncle like I did, who was part of a leather fraternity. No, I was up to speed on terms I never even wanted to know. Okay. So anyway, go listen. It's a great interview. So let's get into it. Episode 6, season 7, Welcome to Plathville, the Birds and the Bees last night really says it all. That was the title, and it was uber creepy because we spend a lot of time with Kim and Barry talking about Lydia and Zach doing it and when they're going to have kids and if like Lydia knows anything about doing it, as though like Google, OnlyFans, Pornhub doesn't exist. Now, I know for Lydia and Zach, they're living under like a Bible. So yeah, for them, I'm sure they've never heard of. They're like OnlyFans to them is completely like the term bridezilla that we had to explain to Micah. Never heard of it. Okay. But it's so weird that like Kim and Barry are kind of fixated in this episode about the two of them like doing it for the first time, when they're going to have babies. It's just like, ugh. Like, guys, okay, you're the same couple 5 years ago that never told, like, you stopped educating these kids at the eighth grade and never told them what a period was. Like, y'all never even brought out a box of tampons. Like, the girls had to figure it out, like, on their own after they were already, like, having, you know what I mean? Like, that time of the month was here. You two are the sources? Ugh. All right, let's go back to seed one. Okay, from last night. So from the jump, I like Amber, but I think we all need to remember Amber is becoming a main character in this show, and she's literally 17. Like she just turned 17. This is a sheltered teen who I think I don't know if these kids go to regular high school. I'm assuming the younger ones now might. I have no idea because obviously Kim and Barry are split, so I don't know who would be homeschooling them. Barry's the breadwinner. He works all the time. Kim manages their like 6 Airbnbs. I don't think that they're homeschooled anymore by Kim. So Amber's like one of the stars of the show now. Now she's holding her own and doing a great job, but we opened last night with them at the farm. They're cleaning up the farm for this wedding. And Amber is like unloading to Barry about how difficult Veronica is, how she talks down to Micah, how she, Veronica is now like basically against the family. And this is my problem always with Barry. I think Barry gets away with playing dumb, acting dumb, being neutral, coming across like, oh, does she? Why does she feel that way? And oh, oh, Amber, I don't want to, get into problems, but what does she say? And then, like Amber's like, well, she calls him stupid and dumb. And I'm like, oh my Lord. And, Amber does say that Veronica loves the drama. Now, look, if you are watching this season, your image of Veronica is she loves the drama. I think that's true. That's the way it comes or it comes off. She said she doesn't like the way that Veronica treats Micah, and Barry has a ton of questions. Barry's like, what does she say to him? What kind of names? So pumping Amber for all kinds of info, and, Amber's giving it to her family. Then we have Isaac. This scene to me was a lot of foreshadowing of what is to come at Lydia's wedding, which Lydia's wedding is a tipping point. Huge epic fight after. From what I know, and from what, Veronica has shared a lot of this on the internet, so this is public knowledge. Cameras were not up when the fight happened at the after party between Isaac and Micah. But to me, there's some foreshadowing there because Isaac inserts himself in this conversation and is like, I wish that Veronica was more like Tegan and Kaylin because if she was, we'd be all set. She wouldn't be disrespectful to my family. And Barry is sort of like, you know what? I mean, I'm hoping this wedding like goes well. Like, is it going to be okay? All of us together. And Isaac essentially makes the threat and says, if she starts anything, then I'm going to have to step in. There's rumors that this whole thing started because of Veronica saying crap about Tegan, which we obviously see in the preview because Veronica brings up the fact that Tegan has an OnlyFans. Does Tegan have an OnlyFans? I have not dug into this. I'm not sure. So then we go from that scene of them prepping the farm. Obviously, Lydia and Zach are getting married at the farm. We go to Veronica and Micah again in Boca, and we pretty much pick up where we left off with the fighting. Okay, they start talking immediately about Olivia, and I will say, and look, I'm going to say this: I don't think production had enough time. But Veronica and Olivia have come out super strongly against TLC and this network. And they're like, the show should be canceled. It's toxic. You're platforming a family that is liars and cheats and everything else. I think by Veronica doing that, I just feel like she got a much more harsh edit. Okay. We start out that conversation about Olivia. So Micah and Veronica are supposed to be sitting there, coming back together, doing some repair. And she's like, Micah's like, yeah, I don't think it's cool that we're bringing up Olivia. We know where Olivia stands. If anything, Veronica, if she wants to save this relationship, she should be going straight to my family and not dropping Olivia's name. And I gotta say, I mean, they make Micah, they make Micah seem like a very mature human being, like that obviously I'm sure is not a 10 at communicating, but they make him out to be very calm, very collected, and making a lot of sense. So I was with him. The combo should not be around Olivia and shouldn't start. And when Veronica knows how much the family dislikes Olivia, and by the way, I've said it 1,000 times. I'll keep saying it. I believe Olivia, everything she says about Ethan and the videos that she has posted about him. But still, we know there's no love loss between Ethan and Olivia and that family, right? Olivia wants nothing to do with them, vice versa. So, the combo doesn't really seem to get any better. Micah seems so defeated throughout this, and these two obviously need therapy, which we find out at the end of the show that they are going to get. And she then calls him a spineless worm and a weak man. Oh. All right. All y'all that are married that listen to this podcast, all y'all, you can't. Whew. If you want a mature, real marriage, like the name calling, you can't do it. You can't. You're in the negative. It's not good. So we kind of leave on a cliffhanger because he's like, yeah, I want to talk to you about the fact you've called me a spineless, weak man. And then boom, we go wedding dress shopping with all the ladies. Lydia's there. Kim's there. Now, by the way, I hate it when I agree with Kim or Barry, but last night, Kim had first of all her advice actually made sense for the very first time. When we're wedding dress shopping, she says to Lydia, try on tons of different dresses, even ones that aren't your style, because could end up being your style. Fabulous advice. For all you listening to this that are married, I'm married. The wedding dress shopping experience is one of the best parts about getting married. I mean, you end up, I think I spent probably $2,800. I ended up buying 2 dresses, maybe $3,000 on the dresses. I bought a first dress that was like $1,600. I went back to try it on after it had already been fitted, and I hated it. I hated the style. You really get carried away in that wedding dress boutique. Hated it. It was super plain, simple. I was like, this is not the kind of fun that I'm going for. So then I ended up getting a different one, like a lace number with much more of kind of like not really even a long train, but just much more of a wedding dress look. They gave me a bit of a discount, but I ended up having to buy 2 dresses. So yeah, there was that. But anyhow, Kim actually had good advice. She's like, try on dresses, even not your style. And of course, Lydia's got this gorgeous figure. She looks good in every single one. She must have tried on 8 in the episode last night. The younger girls are there. Amber's there, who we know is her maid of honor. And of course, we're waiting for Moriah, who, at least for the first 2 hours, doesn't even show up. So, very nice, wedding dress shopping, kind of your typical. The dresses look gorgeous on her. And, she wants something that she can dance around at the farm in. She wants sleeves. I do have to say, I enjoy Lydia. Lydia knows what she wants. She doesn't she doesn't like a sleeveless wedding dress. Okay. I don't know, but she's very, she knows what she wants. And by the way, last night, the very last dress she tries on the episode is the dress she goes with, which looks great, looks gorgeous on her. Okay. Then we pop back to Veronica and Micah. And Veronica is like, look, I don't have a filter. When I called you a spineless worm, I wanted to hurt you. And essentially, she admits last night that at times she wants to hurt Micah. If Micah has hurt her or Micah's family has hurt her, she retaliates and wants to hurt him. And Micah's like, I don't know how much more I can take of this. And she's like, well, I have really big feelings. I have really big feelings. And I feel this way. I have these big feelings. Look, these two they ain't making any headway, okay? There ain't no repair. And in the confessional, in last night's episode, we obviously hear from Micah, the hesitancy. Like he loves her. And I do think these two people really loved each other. I think part of the anger toward Veronica has is I think she was madly in love with Micah. Obviously, he's hot. There's a level of fame there. I think his star could be only rising, although we'll see how bad this broken nose is. I don't know. So I think there's some real hurt there, and she was probably feeling him pull away. Obviously, the cheating has been a big thing, but y'all, these scenes are brutal. They're brutal to watch. They make her look like she has no self reflection at all. And we all have big feelings, right? Everybody has big feelings. One of the things you learn in marriage, and my husband and I have been together 12 years, I think. And I think we've been going to couples therapy 7 or 8. Your feelings are valid. You have to talk through, but you have to also let go. You got to let go. You got to forgive. You got to move forward. And you can't keep bringing up things from the past. Like you have to heal from them, find a way. These two can't do any of that shit. And Micah confesses to all of us. He says, how do you know? He asks the audience, how do you know when you need to cut ties? And he says that, and then what I like about Veronica is she does always have the best one-liners back to him. Because he says to her, Veronica, I love the fact that you're outspoken. I like that you speak up and you are different than I am. And she goes, yeah, you like that I speak up until it's not on your side. And then you're like, damn, well, that's the truth. That's the truth. And by the way, one of the things last night in the episode early on is Barry says he never lied about Veronica and never lied to Veronica. Whether that's the truth or whether that's Barry covering his tracks, I think from Veronica that that's probably Barry just putting it out there that he never, said, things that were wrong about Veronica. And again, I believe Veronica and Olivia. I think Barry is as guilty as Kim in so many of these situations. I think he's very cunning in how he always comes across as kind of the doofus dad that's just like along for the ride. Okay, let's go back to the dresses. Lydia looks great. She looks amazing in all of them. Kim also wants her to try on Kim's wedding dress from 30 years ago. And for some reason, this coveted wedding dress, like Kim would never let the girls try it on when they were younger. So Lydia says she's been waiting, 20 years to try on this dress. She tries it on. I mean, it's fine. I have my mother's wedding dress as well. It's always like fun to try it. But it's, the Amber thinks it looks ancient, 200 years old. And then the best scene of the night last night is Kim's like, yeah, I see it. And I see divorce from Barry. I can't help but see, like, I want to be divorced from Barry. Like, Kim, it just brings up, like, all the reasons why she's so glad to be toast with Barry and she wants that divorce finalized. And she's like, but then I have to remember, and she actually says this. She's like, I have to kind of force myself to remember we have all these beautiful kids and they're doing well. Oh my God. That part was like a riot to me. Like, because, you've most people, right? You're having your wedding dress, you think sentimental things and like, oh, this is so great. Like the moment Lydia walks out, Kim's like, oh, this was a mistake. So Moriah walks in 2 hours late finally. And, she hates weddings. All right. You know what, Madam Depression? We get it. She hates love, of course. And, she's going to Montana to try to find herself, do some soul searching. Last week on the show, I was saying, over the years in therapy, and some of my great mentors have always said to me, moving, if you haven't resolved your own issues or, you're not really sure what's going on or what's kind of not congruent in your life, moving isn't going to change anything. And a lot of you messaged me and you said, look, there's a saying in AA, which is wherever you go, there you are. And it's like, that's such a brilliant, thing, because if you don't resolve your inner turmoil, which is obviously what Moriah is going through, that inner turmoil is there, whether you're in Montana, Cairo, Georgia, New York City. It's everywhere you go, right? However, change of scenery sometimes can introduce you to new people who maybe help you find the way. And then, then here we go. Like, okay, we're halfway through the episode last night, and then it goes weird and creepy and into sex. And Kim does her confessional with the producers. And she's like, look, whatever dress Lydia picks, it doesn't really matter because he just can't wait to get her out of it. It's like, ugh, okay, you know what? Like, do we? I think everybody knows that. Like, we don't need the reminder. But that's like the kickoff to a little happy hour that Zach and Lydia have with Kim and Barry, where it gets worse. All right. Then Moriah completely to me is completely lost. She's so lost, the kind of baby voice. And she and Amber have a moment together before the family prays over Moriah and she leaves for Montana, right? And it's just so sad because one of the things about Moriah, and I think obviously reality TV doesn't help this, is Moriah is lacking in so much self-esteem. And she says to Amber, I look at you and I see so much beauty and I see all the good things and I see what I wish, I saw in myself when I was your age. And Amber's like, wait a minute, I see that in you now. What's sad is like there's just such a lack of confidence there. Like if Moriah could only see all the great things that she has. But to me, she's a person, and I'm sure it's her mental health. Like if she makes one mistake in life, okay, like talking shit on Ethan and Olivia. All right, we've all gossiped. We've all meddled. We've all spread false lies, right? If you gossip, at some point, you're probably saying something that isn't true. Okay, we've all done that. Most of us. With her, I think she can't recover from those incidents. Instead of like forgiving yourself and going, okay, I'm going to learn, don't meddle, don't talk shit about people's marriages. Like she's tatted up, alopecia'd up. I think the stress is like so much for her. So anyhow, she starts crying and she says, she's moving to Montana and she doesn't think it's going to solve all her problems, but maybe she will solve some of her problems. We're praying for her. It'll be interesting to see how much we check in with her over the next few weeks. My guess is probably not a lot until she comes back for Lydia's wedding, which she says she's going to do. Then we go to Kim's house. Lydia and Barry are there with Zach. They're looking over place settings for the wedding. Lydia is finally 21, so Kim pops out the champagne, brings out the booze. Okay. Whew. So much for that DUI. I love Kim. Like, Kim really should be on The Real Housewives because much like, I don't know, Sonia Morgan, Luann, Shannon Bedore, they're never deterred by like falling off of chairs or having sex with strange men and not remembering being drunk or DUIs. Like, Kim's the same way. Pops open the champagne, not a problem. So she's 21. Kim wants to celebrate with champagne. Barry's having a glass of champagne. They all like drink now, okay? Which again, I predicted 5 years ago. I'm like, they're going to go bananas. They're all going to drink, do drugs. Like the boys obviously have done that. Micah's like alluded to that. And now they're sitting around drinking champagne. And this is when it gets creepy. But before we sit down and it gets bizarre, production's like, hey, Kim, Barry, the last time we were here, you guys were really weird with each other about the divorce. Like, how's that going? Barry's some bullshit answer. Production doesn't really push back. And it's like, oh, well, we're putting our differences aside for Zach and Lydia in the wedding. And you can tell Kim like hates him, wants to say something, but she also wants those checks. She's like in this position. It's weird and it's completely not the truth of what's happening. But anyhow, they do address it. So then Barry gets creepy. He starts talking about all the fun firsts that Zach is going to have with Lydia. He says, all kinds of firsts that you guys are going to experience in your marriage, first time things. We get it. And Kim's like, this is where I agreed with Kim. Like, I thought Kim had some great moments last night. First of all, being annoyed with Barry in the confessional. Absolutely. She thinks he's cheesy as fuck. So do we. Kim going, try on different style wedding dresses. Great advice. And then Kim, when Barry starts in on this creepy first thing, she's like, I'm going to need more champagne. No, I know 2 minutes ago, Kim, I just like chastised you for getting a DUI and still drinking. However, I'm with you. I would have needed more champagne. I actually would have. And then Barry quickly goes into, I think it's going to be really hard for you guys to not quickly have kids. You know what I mean? It's going to be very hard for you guys to not have a first and have a baby because, Lydia is just biologically wired at this point to like give birth. Pump your brakes, creep show. We understand where this is all headed, okay? A lot of couples, not everybody, but a lot of couples get married and then, they get a house or they have the baby first, whatever they want to do. We know where it's going. All right. These guys are all of 21. It's just so weird last night, the emphasis on it. And then, yeah, he says some foolishness about how Lydia's biologically crafted right now to want a baby. And then Lydia and Zach inform them, like, thanks so much. But actually, we're going to wait. We're going to take our time. And this is like where Kim also gets weird. She's like, well, if you need any advice, let me know, any sex advice. It's like, I mean, these two, yeah, we know they're probably like doing it after they pray or while they pray, whatever. But like, I do think they know how to like figure out the internet, right? It goes downhill from here, okay? Then Kim and Barry go to the confessional, and Barry's like, I hope they try the rhythm method. And, and then Barry goes, and Kim, you can quiz Lydia orally later. Then everyone like bursts out laughing but Kim. Again, I was like, actually with Kim, I'm like, you know what, Kim? Those couple of glasses of champagne served you well. You're making sense. This guy is weird. Production thought this was funny. Like, ugh, the oral sex jokes from that dude. That's where we leave it. It goes off the rails. It's like, if this show isn't 24/7 drama and you're not hooked, you're creeped out. It's from one extreme to the other. Then we get to the preview. Oh my God. All right. Before I talk about the preview, I do want to tell you about my podcast courses. Summer is coming to an end. GoBigPodcasting.com is my website. Rebecca just emailed me and she said, Sarah, how much is your Podcasting 101 course? I do 3 courses that teach you how to start podcasting, how to make money podcasting, and then how to scale up to make 6 figures, make it your full-time job or an incredible side hustle. So if you use my discount code SummerFun15, the Podcasting 101 is just $8.35. $8.35. You can learn to start a podcast. From there, you can scale all the way up to my 6-figure master plan. That's the roadmap I wish I had, because it's really how podcasters are growing, and it's not doing pod trades. It's how many commercials they're putting in. It's what hosting networks they are going with that are selling their host read ads where they're making a lot of money. So go to gobigpodcasting.com. It's a great gift if you know somebody that has an existing podcast and maybe they're teetering on the edge of giving up. They're not sure what to do. It is your guide. It's a saving grace. And I've had many, many, many 5-star testimonials. If you have any questions, you need any referrals, please reach out to me as well. thesarahfrasershow@gmail.com. Okay. As I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, the preview is wild. So Veronica is not sure she can go to the wedding. Lydia and Zach head down to Boca to visit Veronica and Micah. And Tegan is accused of having an OnlyFans. Veronica and Micah are in therapy, and that is where Veronica tells Micah that he is never going to be around Tegan ever again. And there's also a double date night between Tegan, Ethan, Isaac, and Kaylin, and they're painting each other, and Ethan paints Tegan nude. And this is like, to me, like, I feel like she's just cold. I don't know. Maybe Tegan's like the most amazing thing, but she's like, why did you paint me nude? Like, you don't have any sort of fiery reaction. This is why I feel like Tegan is actually like Barry. I feel like Tegan is a Barry Kim. Very neutral in the reaction. Wouldn't you be like, what? Like, why are you creeping here in front of your brother? This is so weird. Like, what? Y'all, it goes from weird to weird. Always on that show. Okay, I'm ready. Like, I cannot wait to follow this for the season finale. I cannot wait. Okay, love you guys. Go listen to my Chrissy Metz interview. David Yontef is here from Behind the Velvet Rope tomorrow. We have a ton of RHONJT, Bravo T, everything to expect coming up with BravoCon. A lot of news out there that we will get into. Bye, everybody.